Hey everyone, it's Greg again, Unbreakable Spirits. And I'm titling this episode Celebrating Michael J. Fox. The band, my name, Michael J. Fox, on the short list of my bucket list that I'd like to be someday. Couple reasons why we're going to talk about this guy. He was on the Sunday program at CBS this morning. And Jane Pauley was doing an interview, and it's very apparent that his Parkinson's is progressing. And he came on for a few reasons. He's got a new documentary coming out on his life, which we're going to talk about a little bit, and he was promoting that. But also his Parkinson's research, there's been a breakthrough, and but he mentioned a few things that, hi, bud. He's 61 now, and he doesn't think he's going to live till 80 because his Parkinson's is getting really tough to deal with. And but I think we should celebrate him. We should celebrate Michael J. Fox for the person he is. I want to talk about him a little bit today, and I hope you're a fan of his, just like I'm a fan. Think about it, Michael J. Fox, it seems like he's been around our world forever, but he's only 61. That's still young. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's when he was only 29. So think about that. He has lived more than half of his life dealing with Parkinson's disease. Before that, we knew him from TV, Family Ties, back in the 80s, and great movies like Back to the Future and Teen Wolf, and also back on TV with Spin City. And it just seems like he's always been on our life. He's just been this nice guy. He's very, his humor is very quick-witted, and his humor talks about, he kids about how short he is. And he just seems like a nice guy. He's Canadian, so that's another plus there. Most Canadians seem like they're very nice. But, he has shown us a different side of him. He writes about, he's an excellent author too. He's written a few books, which I have, and my favorite was his first one called Lucky Man, where he really talks about it's pretty much a memoir about his life before Parkinson's, when he was an actor, and how he got to be a star, so to speak, on Family Ties and Back to the Future. And then he talks about his Parkinson's. So it's a great book. If you haven't read it, you should pick it up, Lucky Man. But he reveals to us a lot about, his courage, which I admire about him, his courage and he's just, since he's been dealing with the Parkinson's, every time we see him on TV giving an interview, or maybe we'll see him at a New York Knicks game. He's a big hockey fan. He used to be a hockey player. So you might spot him in the crowd at a Rangers game or at a Bruins game. And I admire him because despite his situation, he still tries to get out there and do so-called normal things, just like everybody else does. But we see with each appearance that it is getting harder for him. His movements are becoming more pronounced and uncontrollable. And despite the medication he takes, it's just getting harder. But we're here to celebrate him. And I really admire his courage and his grace. His grace, despite his limitations, he has shown me, he has inspired me not to give up hope and always to keep a positive attitude about things. I admire him because he has raised billions and millions of dollars for Parkinson's over the years. Now, some may say, well, he's an actor, he's got lots of money, he only got involved because he got Parkinson's, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? He had a choice. He could have just stayed to himself. He could have just became a recluse in his apartment with his family and not cared. But he chose not to do that. He's been open about his situation and he wants to help others. And I think in a small way like that, and I can relate because, I feel the same way about my brittle bones, my osteogenesis imperfecta. Especially the older I get, I want to share more information. That's why I wrote my book. I want to help inspire, encourage people, and give them hope. And that's why I'm here on this podcast. So I can relate to that, what it's like for the next generation, that might have Parkinson's or might have osteogenesis imperfecta, to give them hope, just to tell them that you can live your life. You're not restricted by some stupid disease that in Parkinson's and in OI there is no cure. And don't let the disease determine who you are. You're not the disease. You make it how you want to make it. So again, here's my point. My point is that he didn't just curl up in a ball and become all depressed and not care. He went out and he still trying to raise money for Parkinson's research. And like I said, there's been a breakthrough lately. There isn't a cure yet. Hopefully there will be someday, but there is a breakthrough as in regards to the detection of Parkinson's. And hopefully if they can detect Parkinson's early on, they may be able to reverse the effects or stop it before it gets too bad. So he knows, Michael J. Fox knows, that a cure may not happen in his lifetime, but it may. So he's trying, not only for himself, but for other people who have Parkinson's. But what he is doing is he is the pathfinder. He is blazing the way for other people down the road to may be helped by the research they're doing today. So for that, I give him a lot of credit for his courage and his bravery to get out there, and it can't be easy, and help. Well, I knew him from a long time ago, not personally know him, but from family ties. And I think I had explained on this podcast a few episodes ago that the first movie I ever saw in a theater was Back to the Future. There it is. And Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, I love the concept of time travel and all three episodes, volumes, but I like the first one the best. And it's special to me because it's the first movie I ever saw in a theater, because back when I was growing up, theaters were not only inaccessible to wheelchairs, a lot of them were. But it's the first movie I ever saw on a date with a girl. So it brings what I'm holding up so again. What? There it is. So it brings back a lot of memories. Back to the Future does. And back then, Michael J. Fox was this mega star. You saw him everywhere. I mean, not only was he still playing, and think about it, he filmed Back to the Future while he was doing Family Ties. So he would film Family Ties during the week, the rehearsals and the actual filming. And then after rehearsals and filming, he would go to the movie lot and he would work on Back to the Future. And he did this for a long time. And then when volume 2 and 3 came out, he filmed both of those movies at the same time. They did 2 and 3 back to back. There was no stop. And so the guy really worked hard to get where he is. Um, he married a really Tracy Pollan, beautiful girl. He was an actress who played on Family Ties, and married her, ended up having kids, and it's such a great family, you know, such a great family that he has. And it breaks my heart to know what's going on with his Parkinson's. But he has faced the challenges head on. And so that brings us to the documentary that's coming out. Look for it on Apple TV on May 12th. May 12th is the first showing of Still. That's the name of the documentary, Still, Still. And I've seen trailers of it, and it looks really good. It was premiered at Sundance, the Sundance Festival last January, Robert Redford's festival there, and he got raving reviews, standing ovations, and people who have seen it so far have given it big endorsements. And not only does it look like it's very inspiring and touching, but it looks funny too, and it looks, they in the trailer they say that's something to him when they're interviewing him about, doing this movie about this guy who's overcoming this or trying to deal with this illness, and something sad like that. He said that would be boring, which is true. It's so his story is not only full of hope, but it looks like it's very funny, and it's got great music from the 80s, more than a feeling, 70s, 80s music. And it looks pretty cool. So I'm going to check it out, and I hope you guys do too. Still, and it's the first showing is May 12th on Apple TV. Like I said, he has touched my life a long time ago. I never met him, but I'll tell you what, I used to write a newspaper article for my local paper called the Phoenix, and I did an article. I was a writer for them, a columnist for about 3 years. I started writing in 2005, and my last article was in 2007. But the reason I wrote the articles was because I felt there was a need for disability. We talk about disability issues in the world, not only in my small town of Phoenixville. And I talked about inaccessibility, the need for more cut curbs and ramps in my community, not only to help me, but help other people with disabilities in my community, other people who have adaptive equipment, wheelchairs, walkers, canes, to make life a little easier and make our world more easier to get around. But I wrote about topics worldwide, and topics that were in the news that pertain to disability issues. And it was a lot of fun doing the article for a few years. And I got a lot of nice comments about it too. And I saved some of those articles. Some are lost. I wrote about 75 of them over the years. And it was kind of cool. So I found some of them, but not all of them. And one I wrote about back then, I want to briefly share with you. I wrote this was published on Friday, November the 10th, 2006 in the Phoenix. And the title is Admiration for Michael J. Fox, the person. Now, granted, some of this may be a little dated. You got to realize this was written 17 years ago. But I think a lot of it is pretty relevant too, even to this day. And back at this time, before I read this real quick, it's very short. Michael was I don't know if campaigning is the right word, but we were in the midst of the next presidential election coming up in a few years. And the topic of stem cell research was a big topic back then. And whether you believe in that or not, I wrote about his quest for finding a cure for Parkinson and other genetic diseases. So let me read a little bit this to you. It's called Admiration for Michael J. Fox, the person. This isn't a column about politics or stem cell research. It is about Michael J. Fox, the man. Regardless of one's political beliefs, you got to give Michael J. Fox so much credit. The famous actor who happens to suffer from Parkinson's disease is an advocate for stem cell research. He believes a cure for afflictions like Parkinson's can be found in such research. He has been very visible during the recent political campaign and elections, despite allegations that he was, quote, faking or, quote, exaggerating his symptoms on television commercials. Mr. Fox handled the situation with grace, displaying courage and determination, and ignoring the ignorant. It is ridiculous to suggest that his symptoms, noticeable tremors, shaking, slurred speech, aren't real. Does anyone really want to have such symptoms, let alone make them worse? He knows his condition is getting worse. Parkinson's is a progressive disease with no cure. He knows he will not get better. In time, he will lose his ability to walk, care for himself, and even speak. He knows he will eventually die, as we all must someday. What I admire about Mr. Fox is his passion for what he believes in, and he fearlessly voices his opinion. For an actor, always in the public eye, he had to constantly look his best, keep up that persona of being young and healthy. So it had to be difficult to allow the public to see him as he is now, in a failing physical condition. But his wit, spirit, and determination have only been made stronger by his current challenges. It also can't be easy to go from someone so vibrant and healthy with fame and fortune and now be forced to realize that we are all mortal and that one's health is truly far more important in life. Mr. Fox wanted us to see his symptoms as they are. Not easy for him, not easy for us. But as he stated, quote, I think some people feel I shouldn't speak to you, a group of supporters, with my symptoms. They may feel I should just go away and hide, but I'm not going anywhere. It's important to note that Mr. Fox has endorsed candidates from both parties, now and in the past. His is not a political agenda. His purpose is to offer hope to countless people who need a voice to speak on their behalf. So many times in the disability world, we are told to just go away. I can relate to his feelings. Mr. Fox has the power to be heard and voice his opinions. Many people with disabilities do not have that chance. We truly are told to just go away. So when someone in the public limelight shows such bravery while coping with such a challenge, We sit up and take notice, and we wish we could do the same. One may not believe in the research which Mr. Fox advocates, but one cannot help but admire his courage in having the guts to try and do something about a cause he believes in deeply. There may come a time in the future when he can't express his opinions, literally. Until that time ever does arrive, and hopefully not for a very long time, my wish is that we continue to listen to people like Mr. Fox. He challenges us to confront our fears and deal with the emotions and challenges in front of us. I always admired his acting work on shows like Family Ties and movies such as Back to the Future. His honesty and humor in his memoir book, Lucky Man, inspired me to write my own story. But now I admire him more than ever as a person. And that's my article on Michael J. Fox 17 years ago. What can I say? He has inspired me, and I hope in some way this video gets to him. I hope he gets to see this somehow. And if he is watching this, I'll say, Michael, thank you for all the happiness and joy you've given me, and not only that, all the inspiration and courage and the hope that you've given me too. And hang in there and keep doing what you're doing, man. And you're a shining example to us all. So that's all I wanted to say about my man Michael J. Fox. I hope you guys will check out his documentary and maybe check out some of his old movies, especially the Back to the Future trilogy again. Maybe I'm sure you'll be able to find Family Ties on somewhere on cable. Check that out too. It was a really funny show. And you guys take care. I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.